aggressive attitude. They've been out killing people. We've seen this. They have begun to hunt down people who helped the Americans. They've shot at least 2 police chiefs for having helped the Americans. And so if they decide to go in a retribution cycle, you're going to see a lot of people die in the next 3 to 6 months. So we just don't know how they're going to govern at this stage. They spent 20 years in war. They didn't spend 20 years preparing to take over the country and govern it. Their goal was just desperation, survive long enough for the Americans to get tired and go home.
In the soundbite that we started with, the president talked about how much money will be saved that is not being spent in Afghanistan that we could spend here at home. They want to spend $3.5 trillion in this human infrastructure bill they're going to start debating now. And the combined spending plans, if you look at this, call for two folks, is $1.7 trillion for the American Jobs Plan, $1.8 trillion for the American Families Plan, and $1.9 trillion for the American Rescue Plan. So in a way, sir, I do think that might be persuasive for some people to hear that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it might be. I think there are 2 challenges. One is we did a survey, and by something like 59 to 16, people preferred free market capitalism to big government socialism. So I'm not sure a Bernie Sanders $3.5 trillion big government socialist bill is going to be very popular once people actually look at it. Second, this is going to cause this collapse in Afghanistan, the way that Biden presided over a total disaster. This is going to cause us to have to think about funding against China, funding against North Korea, funding against Iran, funding against Russia. I'm not sure we're going to save any money by having proven that we're weak and afraid to stay and that we're willing to cut and run. I think, if anything, the world's going to turn out to be more dangerous, and we may actually be forced into, just as Jimmy Carter was, spending more money on defense because of the nature of our enemies.
I don't know what you thought of the president's tone yesterday. It's getting a lot of attention. A lot of people writing it up. But Dana pointed out there was a reporter at the briefing. Jen Psaki briefed after the president came out. I think Fox, we took most of it. The others took a little bit of it, I think. Dana, what was the question the reporter said?
Ed O'Keefe of CBS. He said that a lot of people in the room had noticed that President Biden seemed very angry. And the question was, who are you mad at?
Yeah. So just think about that now as you look at these poll numbers from ABC. They found that 84% of all Americans want to stay there until all Americans are out, 71% until all allied Afghans are evacuated. So think about the polling numbers. Think about what they're looking at from a strategy aspect internally in the White House. Why do you come out with such a forceful defense as he did yesterday?
Look, I think he is, I'm guessing, but my guess is that he is extremely angry. He saw himself as a heroic figure getting us out of a 20-year war, and then it all went to pieces. I mean, the imagery of him at Dover receiving the fallen bodies while looking at his watch was as devastating as anything I've seen. And to have the Gold Star families, the parents and the relatives of the dead, to have them erupt against the president in that kind of a setting is literally unprecedented. I don't care which prior president was involved. And he must right now feel like he's almost trapped, because every time he turns around, there's somebody telling him how stupid this is, or how bad it is, or how destructive it is. And I think he's decided he's just going to go straight forward. He's going to force his way through and hope that we'll go to a new topic and we'll get beyond this. And I think he's in for a rude shock. There are certain events, 9/11 was one of them, which are historic. They don't disappear. They don't go away. I think the way he left, not that he left, the way he left Afghanistan was so humiliating. And the notion that we would, by his own words, that we would leave 10% of our people behind, that is so un-American and such a violation of our traditions that I think he's going to find that this is just not going to stop. And I think